Your bike's almost done. You happy?
I am very happy, Sam.
Yeah. By almost done, we mean running, not not like
It's
rebuilt or pretty.
it's not set up. There I did upgrade the seat,
Probably.
probably. I don't think he'll have a Brandon's a wizard. He can make it work.
We'll find out. Can you hear the David Allen Coe in the background? I wonder.
I mean, I sure can.
Yeah, it's been loud all day in the store. Let's turn that down.
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have the rights to him though. So, we'll get.
He'd like us. He might
Maybe.
not. He might not.
I don't know. It's a crotchety old man.
So are we.
If you haven't seen, there's a documentary on YouTube that's free. It was made by PBS in 1974. And if you just type in David Allen Coe documentary 1974, it'll come up. I was telling you about this earlier.
I'm going to check it out.
Telling everyone else. It's him playing a show interspersed with like little fucking bits of like him talking to his mom and going home and going to the Ohio State Pen and talking shit on Nashville while driving around Nashville.
Wasn't he in the Ohio State Pen for 20 years?
He claims to be.
On death row.
His intro to the song Death Row. It's real good. That show is incredible. They do like Up on Cripple Creek.
That is a killer version.
Yeah.
That
they do a Piece of Wood and Steel. He does a song called The Outlaw that I don't think's on any record. It's incredible.
Was very interesting. It was like a literary song.
He's very good. People forget. There's also a video of him on there.
He does that on purpose.
I don't know. There's a video of him at the Ohio State Pen in 72.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, he introduces
from
that
Dallas,
song
Texas.
Death Row.
Yeah.
By telling his story of how he killed a man while he's playing to a bunch of inmates.
Yeah, it could have been a disaster for the staff, I suppose.
Because he ends the whole intro by being like, "I found out then, no matter how weak and skinny and scared you are,
he called himself pretty.
You still got your strength in your hands to kill a motherfucker. If he fucks with you." And ain't nobody fuck with me since.
Yeah, and the crowd goes wild.
And he instantly plays Death Row.
Which is a hilarious song.
It is. Oh, my God. Yeah, check those things out. Your bike's almost done. We got a bike show tomorrow that you hope to bring it to so we can compare all the good bikes to a bad bike.
Now, why you gotta be mean, Sam? It's unnecessary. She's beautiful, just the way she is.
Brandon, the mechanic, sent me a picture that was just a bunch of wires and shit.
Yeah, he sent me that picture too.
And it was just everything that was in that bike that was unnecessary to be in that bike.
The way he phrased it was, "Look at what I deleted from your bike." And I was like, "Oh, that's what would have caught fire. Thank you."
It was a fucking mess. Hopefully it'll run. Maybe today you'll get it. I don't know. That might be a little...
My fingers are very crossed.
Hopeful.
Yeah.
But yeah, tomorrow we got the bike show. We also have a festival at the Southgate House. It's called Live Forever Fest. It's the first annual one. We're already talking to people about it for next year, and it's very exciting.
Yeah. It's coming up quick.
It is. It's June 14th at Southgate House in Newport, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
It's on our site. It's on their site. It's good. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Go check it out. It's a bunch of people playing for a lot of hours in between multiple rooms at Southgate House.
And if you haven't been to Southgate House, you really owe it to yourself to go. It's a cool spot.
And just in general, Southgate has a lot of acts that you would be interested in. Tyler Childers actually started playing in their like smallest front lounge room.
That's funny.
Yeah, like he would play to like 5 people in the bar room.
Yeah,
and then he would play in the Revival room, which is upstairs in like 100 cap, and then he would play the Sanctuary and never again.
Yeah, and now he doesn't show up.
I don't know. I mean, imagine if we could get him back though. That'd be fun.
I believe in us.
But yeah, we got that on June 14th. We are going to be at Party at the Pen the weekend before that, which is in Mansfield, Ohio. So come out to that. It'll be a good time.
That's where they filmed Shawshank Redemption,
and it's also where David Allen Coe was in prison.
That's right, for 20 years.
For 20 years, from the time he was a little baby.
So he went there when he moved in when he was 4?
Yeah. I think we did the math on his claim, and it came out to that. He might have been counting reformatory school. I don't know. He's a what's the word? I'm not gonna say a liar.
Well, he's a liar.
He's a tale teller.
He was born in Dallas, Texas,
and also Nashville, Tennessee.
And I don't know where else he's claimed, but
he was born in like Ohio,
somewhere, Lima.
And that comes up in the documentary where he claims to be from both Nashville and Dallas. They go back to where he grew up in Ohio.
Yeah.
He's a funny dude.
He's a-
This episode is with
Yes.
the singer-songwriter musician John Moreland.
Yeah.
Who's
Very talented guy.
He's a very interesting
Very
guy.
thoughtful guy. Very. I like him.
We had a good conversation. You've maybe heard his name recently in the news.
Maybe.
And
If not,
if not,
you must be very offline, and good for you.
Yeah, or not like a certain other guy.
Or that.
But we actually booked this interview like 2 days before all that started. So that's cool.
Yeah, those were fun messages to get from you. You're like, hey, you know that guy you looked up? I was like, yeah, I really like his songs. You're like, well, look at this.
He's in the news.
He's like, oh, wow. He's all over.
But it's good because more people now know who he is.
Which is good. You should.
Yeah.
Honestly, listen to this guy. He's a genuine, excellent songwriter.
Yes, and we talk about a lot about his process of how he gets songs and records done.
Yeah, that was fun.
We talk about like why he chooses to play mostly solo acoustic on the road, how he sets his business up. We talk about his influences. We talk about a lot of stuff. It was a good interview. I enjoyed it. I believe, Eli enjoyed it.
I could have talked to that guy for hours,
but we go for about an hour, and we leave you wanting more.
Yes.
Other than that, this episode is coming out a little bit off schedule for the media cycle.
Because
why not?
Because you're sharp.
So normally our interview podcasts drop on Tuesdays at midnight, and our other episodes drop on Sundays around 7 p.m.
Yep.
This one will be at neither of those times.
Nope, this is a special one.
But you can find all of our other episodes those 2 times every week. We have a lot of interviews that are in the can. We have more that we have booked. We are currently doing our series of deep dive episodes on New Hollywood. So the next one will probably be like Marty Scorsese. We're very good friends.
Yes.
He wouldn't agree to an interview for some reason. But
not yet.
Yeah, not yet.
We'll get you, Marty.
Other than that, you can find all of our stuff online at shoplfew.com. You can find it in our store in Covington, Kentucky, or you can come out to one of our events like the bike show.
Definitely come see us.
Live Forever Fest, Party at the Pen, one of our swap meets. We're around. We do a bunch of stuff. I'm going to plug 2 things that I have absolutely nothing to do with. I just want them to keep being on because I like to watch them. You should watch Everybody's Live, the John Mulaney talk show. He did the entire last episode blindfolded, so that was fun. It's like a fever dream Johnny Carson. And also Seth Rogen has a show called The Studio. It is on Apple TV. John Mulaney's is on Netflix. The Studio is really good too. It has him and Catherine Hahn and Ike Barinholtz and a bunch of fucking guest stars, including Marty Scorsese.
There you go.
Those are very good. I like to recommend things to people. And I also just want more people to watch them so that they don't cancel them. Because I look forward to that shit.
Yeah. Don't let them take that away.
Yeah, they're not paying me to do that. I just really like those shows. I wish they would pay me to do that. Maybe they will. We'll see a massive jump. Fuck, you gotta
get that LFTW bump, Netflix.
Yeah, man. Next fucking Wednesday, Mulaney's numbers are gonna go nuts.
You know what? That was just very altruistic of you. It's good. I would like to push the magazine. Get a subscription to that. I've got a really exciting interview coming up in that.
We have a new, not episode, what are magazine? Issue. We have a new issue coming out very soon. It is issue 7 of the magazine. We have bike builds and we have boobs and sometimes more. Yeah. And we have stories and movie reviews and playlists and art and everything a good outlaw magazine should have.
I think the next one has my story about, which is true, about almost getting murdered and instead making sweet love to a beautiful crusty punk lady named Hutch. It was
cool.
Fun. On LSD.
So buy it for that.
Buy it to read experiences you wouldn't want to live through, but may enjoy reading about.
Yeah, it's good. It's a fun magazine.
It's great.
If you are a model, a photographer, or a bike builder specifically and are interested in being featured in it, go onto our site. If you go to contact, there's a place to contact about being in the magazine. Again, we're only looking for models, photographers, and bike builders right now.
All right.
So if you're one of those and you want to be on the printed
Glossy,
page,
beautiful, glossy pages.
hit us up.
Yeah.
Here's John Moreland.
All right. Enjoy.
I'm your black cat baby, your bad luck creeping around the bend.
I've had a lot of stuff going on in my brain, as I'm sure you have recently.
Yeah.
I have. Can't understand.
Yeah, but you're in the middle of a tour right now.
Yeah, I've got 4 days off. Well, it's three, I guess now. Yesterday was a day off. I got three more. I'm in Detroit just hanging out. I'm not playing here. I'm just my next show is in Grand Rapids, and I'm just like chilling, taking it easy for a few days by
Awesome.
myself.
I was trying to figure out if you were going to be like coming through here based on your tour schedule, but it's close
Yeah,
enough, but not. You know,
yeah,
do you tour
yeah.
alone?
You were in Cincinnati, is
Yeah,
that right? That
like,
area,
yeah. Uh,
cool.
do you tour alone most of the time?
I mean, I play alone most of the time. It's usually on tour. It's me and my wife Pearl, and sometimes we have like a merch seller with us. Our friend Cassidy's been selling merch for us lately, so we got yeah. Usually it's me and Pearl and maybe one other person. And at the moment, yeah, Pearl flew home for these days off, so I'm just out here by myself. I'm gonna pick her up at the airport here. So I don't even know when she's flying back, but anyway, yeah. Um, Most of the time but yeah, it's a small, I have like, last time I toured actually alone was like 12 years ago, probably, but that's fun and weird and shit. It gets really weird, but um, it was rewarding and cool too. I'm glad I don't do that anymore, but I do like a small crew. Like there's times I've had a full band and more of a crew, and there's been 8 people on the tour or whatever, and I'm not very good at that. So
Well, do you tour manage yourself essentially?
Pearl does.
Okay.
It's I mean, yeah, like right now we kind of manage me ourselves too, but Pearl and I and we
Yeah, I heard about
yeah.
that.
Yeah. I mean, that's been really cool. And we just, out on the road, yeah, we just keep it real simple. Um I never really tour managed myself. I guess when I toured alone, I didn't even know what that was. Like I didn't advance shows or do anything. I would just like fucking show up and be like, here I am. And it led to some weirdness sometimes, but usually it was fine. But yeah, I mean, it's cool to just keep it like in-house, 2 or 3 people. That really suits me.
Is this a big tour? Like, heard you say something about an ideal tour would be like 50 shows as opposed to 150. Or,
Oh, yeah, maybe in a year is what I was talking about.
okay.
This tour is yeah. Well, so I guess also it's just like I'm thinking in my brain. I'm thinking of a tour as like a piece of
Okay, sure.
a leg of a tour, I guess. So yeah, of a whole if a whole year or like an album cycle, I think like 50 shows would be sick. But I got to do more than that to pay the bills usually. But
How many nights a year
no,
do
like 50 a year I can do. That works for me. I think that's probably what I'm gonna end up doing this year. Like this run that I'm on right now was like maybe 12 shows or something. And
Okay.
there's two more, and then we go back home for a little while.
All right.
when did you decide to play alone because you like the sound or because you don't like being around a lot of people?
Both. I
Yeah.
don't know. I like being around people. I actually I like being around people more than I ever have at this point in my life, I would say.
Okay.
But I did, it was like there was a factor of it that was like just being kind of like hard-headed about my ideas and not wanting to have to collaborate with others and one just kind of being like experiencing a little bit of that in bands I had been in, I think kind of made me feel like I just want to do my own thing where nobody can like argue with me or tell me a song should go some other way or tell or bring some bullshit riff that they wrote that I think sucks that they insist we have to put in the song or whatever. Just shit like that, you know. I think I just wanted to like do what I wanted to do and at first, I mean, I tried doing it with bands. I've had bands through the years, but and sometimes that's cool. There's like pros and cons to it, but I think that I reached a point where I was trying to start like getting on the road more, and I just realized logistically like how much fucking easier it would be to do that and really get out there and go for it if it was just me and I didn't have to like coordinate my schedule and just my whatever like needs in life and shit with anybody else. And but and then I, you know, when I started doing it primarily for that reason, I kind of over time learned that I think musically it works really well, and I'm happy with that part of it too. And when I since then when I do go back and play with bands, there's a weird balance that I'm trying to find always where it's like I'm just, okay, I'm trying to play with other people, but I don't want them to like ruin what's happening when I play by myself also.
Yeah.
So it's a weird line to try to walk.
And also, you have some artists, I think, seem to come across a lot better with a large backing band, but because you had for the Birds in the Ceiling, you had more of a band for that one.
Yeah.
Like, I think with you, it really comes off well when it's just you, your songs, your voice, and your guitar. I
Thanks,
think.
dude. Yeah, I agree. That's what I kind of always keep coming back to. And it's a weird, yeah, sometimes it sucks. Sometimes I'm like, but I want to like rock and shit like other people. I want to like play with or whatever. But, you know, I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, I agree. It feels better to me that way too, usually. And not necessarily alone all the time, but sometimes that is what feels better. But at least just, you know, fairly stripped down, like me in a small ensemble is kind of what always feels the best to me.
Yeah.
Who plays on your records?
There have been different folks on different records. I mean, the main person who's been on most of my records is a guy named John Calvin Abney, who
Right.
plays like guitar and keys on a lot of the records. And he plays with a bunch of people. And then like, I mean, I play a lot of shit on some of them. Certain records, Visitor, the newest one, I played everything pretty much. And
Yeah.
I've done that on like In the Throes and High on Tulsa Heat was kind of just me and John Calvin playing everything pretty much. But those had a few guest players, I guess, thrown in the mix, and Visitor really didn't. But and then there's a couple records, like Big Bad Love had a band of Tulsa players, and then for LP5 and Birds in the Ceiling, I had John Calvin was on that one, those, and then Bonnie Whitmore and Matt Pence were the rhythm section.
And you're an Oklahoma guy, but you
Yeah.
spent a little bit of time growing up in northern Kentucky.
Yeah, when I was a baby, like a year old, I guess, we moved to Boone County, and I lived in well, we lived back and forth, like Burlington mostly, I guess. But
I know a guy that lives there.
yeah, is it you?
No,
Okay.
no, it's a guy I get
I
motorcycle.
know a few guys.
No, I live in Cincinnati.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, my mom was a teacher and she worked at the Southgate school, like the K through eighth grade or whatever, and she like came to some shows with me one time like 10 years ago, and we played at Southgate House
that's the
in
best one.
Covington, and there was a dude at the show who came up to her and was like, you were my little brother's teacher or something, like something crazy like that.
That's cool.
Anyway, But
That's
yeah, and then when I was 10, we moved to Tulsa. So that was, yeah, I spent my like elementary school years in Burlington.
what's the scene in Tulsa like? I feel like there's a lot of like, I mean, there's like a Tulsa sound, but we don't hear a lot about what goes on in Oklahoma or anywhere in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
I'm not plugged into that scene.
Like
What's that like?
what's going on in Tulsa? What's the scene? Are there a lot of people out of there? Like, how's that look?
It's kind of like small, but I would say there's a disproportionate amount of really talent and really just quality, cool stuff in all kinds of different genres. And in Oklahoma in general. And the Tulsa sound, I don't really, that's a weird ass term to me because to me, I've always felt like the two artists who get called the Tulsa sound to like who exemplify that are supposed to be J.J. Cale and Leon Russell. And I love both of those guys so much, and they don't sound fucking anything alike to me. Like what is that sound? What's the fucking Tulsa sound? Like I don't know what that is. And I think I get tired of people using it now. Like it just feels like trying to kind of like, I don't know, stand on some foundation that you weren't a part of and aren't actually connected to or something. So I don't know. The Tulsa sound is confusing to me, but I think that just yeah, like roots music, there's a lot of good stuff in Oklahoma, like punk and hardcore and heavy stuff. There's a lot of good stuff in Oklahoma. And there's just a lot of really good players in Oklahoma. And there's a lot of, fun people that I like hanging out with in Oklahoma. And that's my take on it.
It sounds like a good enough scene right there.
How big is
Yeah.
Tulsa itself?
How big is Tulsa?
I don't have any
Like
concept.
the population? I'm gonna Google it because I don't know. I want to say like 300,000 or 400,000.
So it's kind of like Cincinnati size.
Yeah, I think it's probably maybe a little smaller, 411,000.
Okay, so
Okay.
there's
Tulsa County is 682.
That's
But
decent amount of people.
yeah.
But when you were coming up, was there a lot of places to play? Was it like, hey, we all go to this one spot, or was it spread out?
Usually there were, I mean, my like scene I was active in was like hardcore shows and, all ages shit. And it was kind of fluctuated between like the scuzziest basement you've ever been in. And then like the next show would be at like a church.
Yeah.
And then like,
I love that.
it's just anywhere like all ages could get in, and usually there was no more than one or two venues going at a time, and then they never lasted very long, financial troubles, whatever, cops shut it down, whatever it was, and then or somebody says fuck on the microphone and the church stops having shows or whatever it is, and then people would kind of get together and figure another place out and start doing shows there. And that's kind of what it was always like. At this point, there's a lot more. I mean, there's maybe for all ages, not so much. That might still be kind of rough out there. I don't know. But if you're 21, there's plenty of places where music is happening every night of the week in Tulsa. And it's not like cover bands and garbage either. It's like cool shit usually. So
did you come up playing in hardcore bands?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like, yeah, punk, and then kind of moved on to like hardcore and sort of metal. I never was really like a big metal guy, but more punk and hardcore, I guess.
This is a continuous theme, it seems like, with people that we
That's
talk
what?
to. Like a continuous theme with people we talk to that
Yeah.
play general genre of music. Is they're like, I was a punk kid, and then at some point,
Well, dude, something I noticed now is it feels like that's that all guitar-based music is just like hardcore kids doing it now. That's almost what it feels like to me. Like anything, because for a few years it felt like, wow, the guitar is just like gone, dude. I don't see guitars in pop culture anymore. And then now I feel like guitar music is like huge again. And every like rock band of any varying style that I hear about, I learned like, or that I'm into anyway, I'm like, it just feels like these are like hardcore kids doing this. Sometimes I find out I'm right. And yeah, and like roots music, there definitely is a big, punk to country and folk pipeline. And I mean, when I got into that, I mean, it was like 2006, and it seemed like it wasn't new then, but it still keeps happening. It's still just there's like new waves of it over every few years, I think, and like it's definitely a thing at this point. I met this barber the other day that came and gave me a shave at the show, and he was like, another hardcore kid. We were just talking about that like
I
every
know
day.
that guy, by the way.
You know that guy? You know
Yeah,
him?
I'm friends with him.
Y-
Yeah, I saw him
Yeah.
on his Instagram.
Oh yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's just like this is like the hardcore kid retirement plan now, I guess.
When stuff gets too loud, we all gotta.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I remember being like 20 and feeling old at hardcore shows too, and so and feeling like I don't want to stop playing music, but I feel old. I feel like a grandpa already at these fucking shows. Like, what am I gonna do? And I just go like get into grandpa music, I guess. I don't know.
Did you grow up with like country and Western Americana music and like circle back to it, or was it a new discovery?
Yeah, I grew up with like not necessarily country, like traditional hardcore country, but I grew up with like classic rock and roots rock and country adjacent stuff through my dad. And then yeah, classic rock. And I guess, he was definitely into like the outlaw stuff. He had like Waylon and Willie records and shit like that. And then, yeah, his dad loved Webb Pierce and old, the old shit. Like, and then my mom's dad just was kind of like grew up in Mississippi,
Mhm.
and he loved like I don't know, he didn't know artists by name, but you put on like some John Hurt or whatever and he would like go crazy, lose his shit. That was his favorite, just like acoustic blues, and so that it was just around, and like and then of course like 90s country was really appealing to, as a kid. Like just I had a little in my basement, I had a little uh my basement in Burlington at our house, we had a little like tiny kid pool table in there, and I would just like turn on CMT on the TV down there and had a little like third grader honky tonk in the basement, So like
I love that image.
yeah, so that was just like, but to even still, I think it just felt like as close as I could get to like rock music at the time. Like I don't know that I even thought about it like that, thought like I'm into country or whatever. It just was, I don't know. That's just what the shit that was around. That's what my family and my cousins were all listening to and stuff.
I think at that age you just sort of gravitate towards what you find and you like, and you don't
Yeah,
put labels on it. You're not like, oh,
exactly. You learn what it's called later.
and you like all the shit you like. And
Yeah.
as we get older, we sort of compartmentalize and be like, no, I'm this kind of, not
You
this,
just learn the rules about it. Yeah.
which is a disappointment.
It is. Yeah, totally. That can really like ruin the fun a lot of times. It has for me.
Got back to just enjoying whatever I'm enjoying at the time.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I would love to work on that. That sounds cool.
Right now, who are you listening to a bunch?
Like songwriters that I would, or whatever, solo roots artists that I would say are Justin Bloss is a really good one. He's from Tulsa. He's amazing. Ken Pomeroy is amazing. Her new album just came out today.
I just listened to that because I saw that in your story. I was
Yeah,
like,
and I'm on a song on that record if that interests anybody, but it's just like a fucking killer record. Like she's amazing. She's like alien level talented. She's like, there's a song on this album she wrote when she was 13. Like it's good as fuck. Like it's ridiculous. And then I really this Australian hardcore band, The Chain, their record just came out. I've been listening to that, and Samantha Crane's new album, Gumshoe, is amazing. And I've been listening to the Black Flag EP, the first Black Flag EP a lot lately. I don't know, just
Fun one.
been calling my name again. Nervous Breakdown.
Dude, every like
There's a few.
the
Yeah.
Misfits like box set, like the original Misfits, like when they have like the 30 songs on it with Danzig.
Yeah.
3 months, I'm like, I need to hear that on fucking repeat.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
You
I
know?
do that one. I do Nervous Breakdown, and I do like the Minor Threat
Yeah.
discography or whatever. Really it's the stuff from the first 7-inch, I think, that I like on there. But yeah, just every once in a while I gotta go back to like my favorite shit from when I was 13.
Were you a big DC punk fan?
I like when I think, growing up in the Bible Belt and like Christian background and shit, I think as I was getting into punk, there was this process of like dip my toes in the water of like what's the least scary. I'll start with that first or whatever, you know what I mean? And
That's how I did it. Yeah.
and I think that when I found like the DC stuff, the straight edge thing was really like not scary. So that was like easy to get into. But then it just fucking like speaks to my, like I'm not, aside from like straight edge whatever, like I really like Ian. Like I find myself to be like a similar type of curmudgeon to him, I think. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of shit from that scene and like Discord records that really spoke to me. And as I got older, I got into more of the different eras of Discord and kind of like the 90s shit. There was a band called Hoover that was on that label I really liked.
Yeah, I grew up in DC.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
That's my whole fucking thing. I grew up like in the third wave because I'm 28, or no, I just turned 29. So I grew up in the third wave of it, which was like 2008, 9 to like 14.
Yeah.
So like we would see like Ian at a bunch of shows all the time. He would still come out and nobody would bother him.
That's so cool.
My Latin teacher, do you know the band Black Eyes?
Yeah, I fucking loved Black Eyes for a minute, dude.
Lead singer, not the screamy guy, the other guy.
Yeah.
His name.
That was your teacher?
He was my Latin teacher for 6 years.
Nice.
And that dude was dope, man. Like
Cool.
there was one day I was getting real into like skinhead punk, like the British, but like the good stuff, not the racist stuff. Not the
I feel you. Yeah.
And I bought a shirt for the Foreskins, and I was 14 years old, and I didn't get the joke. And I went to school, and like they literally sent Hugh, because I related to him because he was an old punk dude, right?
Yeah.
Be like, hey Sam, I like that band too. You can't wear that shirt. And I was like, no, they're not the racist ones. He's like, I know that. I know all
It's not about that.
Like,
that's so funny, dude.
It's for a different reason, Sam.
Wow, that's so cool.
But like, man, growing up in DC, we had like all those dudes around.
Yeah.
We had like the Black Cat there.
Yeah.
Owned by Dave Grohl, and everyone forgets that he was in Scream.
Yeah.
So like him and Taylor Hawkins would be hanging around playing pool in the front room, or if you went to like a porch fest where a bunch of kids would play, you could look to your right and be like, that's Ian MacKaye, what the fuck?
Yeah, wow.
And
Wow, man. That's so cool.
it is, and it felt really like attainable because they were
Yeah.
people that you looked up to and were into, and they were famous to you, but you could also see them in a Walgreens. And
Absolutely.
nobody else would know, but you would know,
Yeah.
Totally, man.
But it's a real cool scene. It's also in my life good because it was straight edge, and I did not grow up being like all the cool people get really fucked up all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, all the cool people don't do any of it.
Don't do any of that. Yeah, I know. Well, that's what, yeah, totally. I mean, when I started, that was the thing, like, I think getting into like whatever country and Americana and whatever, like at first when it, the hardcore scene, I mean, even if you're not straight edge, like it's just not that druggy, and so yeah, I mean, it was just like like as when I was like, 20, 22, whatever, still getting into this world, sometimes like when that shit would come up, I would just be like, wait, what? Like that's real? Like that's not just like in movies or what? Like people actually do like this rock star shit? Like what the fuck?
I think it's hilarious that the loud, angry, aggressive people are like, "Oh, I don't need any cocaine," and then
Yeah.
sad people are like, "Get me some of that shit." I don't understand what the fuck that's about, but it's certainly interesting.
Yeah.
If have you ever run into like being drawn to doing like drugs, coke, whatever, or was it just something that you were always like, "That's not
No,
what
I mean, I've done some of that. Yeah, at this point, I'm not, but I think, yeah, like getting into punk and music culture and shit, I definitely like had to ease into it. And, I mean, I'm just kind of, I don't know what I kind of just do whatever I want, and I try to be smart about what that is. And I guess that's the best way I can put it.
I'm in a similar place.
Yeah.
I don't find myself doing much of anything. I smoke weed, but
Yeah, I do a lot of that. Yeah. I
that's
do some other things now and then, but I don't, but I don't, and I've had, I mean, just,
do you think that comes from just knowing yourself better? And I know you took
yeah,
time off from music
yeah.
and social media and all that.
I think also like yeah, I mean, there was like 5 years where I didn't do anything but smoke weed.
Yeah.
And the thing that's got me in the most trouble has always been alcohol, but then it also seems like the thing that's kind of I don't have much I'm not actually all that interested in. Like I can kind of when I really when it feels like okay, I need to not drink, like I'm pretty able to not do it, and I don't really miss it or anything, so I feel lucky for that. I know like that's not what it's like for a lot of people. And but yeah, I don't know, I just I party like this much, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I think you need to just a little bit.
I think
I think I do personally.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
I have a theory that everyone needs like a vice. Like there has to be
Everyone
something.
has one too, like whatever it is.
Everyone has one, but it's I think
You
because they
know,
need one. Like
yeah.
otherwise everyone's and people that don't have any vices, you don't want to know what their actual vice is.
Yeah.
Because it's like, fuck, they can't even tell.
Oh yeah, no, dude. Yeah.
That's why you get a lot of like preachers and shit doing stuff.
Totally.
That's
Yep.
yeah.
And maybe you should just like drink some kratom and have
You
yourself.
you gotta get your yayas out, dude. Just do, yeah, there's like safe ways to do it, man.
Good of everyone.
Does it ever make you go like a little bit insane traveling? Because if I'm on like the road doing anything for more than 5 days, I start to feel off and weird, and I can't imagine touring.
I don't feel I think at this point I'm pretty used to it. Like I've been out for it's the 16th. I've been out the first show was the first, so I've been out since a couple days before that, and I feel fine. Like I'm not like antsy to get back home really at this point. Sometimes I feel that way, but it's not that the traveling is really bothering me. It feels more like just there's shit I need to do at home that I just need to get back there for or something. It feels more like that. Like I'm neglecting something there. And then but yeah, I don't know. I feel pretty at home on the road, and yeah, usually my wife is on tour with me, so that's pretty much that feels like home, and yeah, I'm pretty used to it. It used to be weird, but it's pretty cool now. I get more antsy when I'm not on tour. I get more like I like when I get some time at home. At first, I'm always like, oh fuck yeah, it's gonna be great. Like I'm gonna chill so hard, and then I just reach a point where I'm just like. So yeah, I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm way too in my head, and I'm just starting to like get in trouble, and I need to go.
Does working on things like writing a new record help that, or is it a totally different thing? Real, I got to get out there and play.
I think it can help if I'm spending more time at home writing or something, then that helps. Like I think, but they can also coexist. Like there's definitely times where I'm actively writing and I still feel like I need to get the fuck out of here just because it's also just it's like, Tulsa, you get the size of Tulsa, the scene of people who are into the kind of shit we're into and hang out together is not huge. It's probably, similar to Cincinnati. And I think it's kind of just like I'm really fortunate that I don't have to be there all the time and that I get to go experience other places and other people and other cliques and other scenes and whatever and just get a larger view of the world and of my life. And when I'm home for like a month or 2 months or something, it can start feeling like man, my head's just too much in like Tulsa towny stuff, and I need to just like get out of here.
Didn't you write a lot of visitor like going for night drives by yourself in your guitar?
Yeah, yeah.
That good sort of middle ground.
It is. That's really good. I mean, that's still I think that my thing is like I like being around people, but then I'm like not great at it. And
I feel that.
so I
Yeah.
want to be when I'm alone, I could be really productive and stay out of trouble and do good shit, and it's great. But then I want to like be around people, and that'll be cool for a while, and then what? Maybe I don't know. I don't
We need different things.
sabotage myself. Like nobody's gonna want to hang out with me who hears this. But yeah, no, whatever. I don't. I just. It's just. I live in my head so fucking much, and when I'm at home, it's really like hard to not really spiral into that.
I can relate to that.
Is that where the songs come from? Being like too
Yeah,
internal?
yeah.
What does the process look like? Is it like I have a song in my head and it's out 20 minutes, or you like fucking
No.
slave on them? Take a minute.
Yeah, no, they kind of like trickle out for me little by little, they, but the way I write is kind of tends to be like, I would describe it as like short bursts of like brain vomit, where it's just, I'm kind of just, well, usually when I sit down to write something, my goal is to write like 4 lines. And if I can write 4 lines, then I'll be nice to myself and let it go and move on with my day.
Yeah.
And because I feel like I can do that usually, and that's something I started doing because I used to be really hard on myself about like just like sit here until this thing's finished, and it would just be, and I'm just writing shit that I hate, and it just like it became an exercise in hating myself. So now I just try to write 4 lines at a time, and I'm like, if I can write 4 lines every time I sit down and attempt to, songs will happen often enough that I can keep doing this job, and
Are you
that has
saying,
proven to be true.
Yeah, it's a good method.
are you on one song, 4 lines, same
No.
song, or it's just
No,
all?
it's just all over. Yeah, I mean, there's like numerous songs going at the same time.
I like to know that because I wondered when I was listening to paying attention to some of your songwriting.
Yeah.
And I have a similar process where I have to do something or I hate myself.
Yeah,
But I've worked with like it's like this is just shit if I force it. So I have to like
exactly.
find that
Yeah,
sweet spot with myself, which sometimes I
yeah,
stare at a wall or my plants for a couple hours by myself, and then I'll be like, I
yeah,
get out of here, and I come home and I'm very productive.
totally. Yeah,
I find it interesting to hear about how people put songs together because it's such a like personal thing, right? Like there's like books on
yeah,
it, but if you tried to write a song like Bob Dylan, it wouldn't work because you're not Bob Dylan.
If you're not him, probably not. Yeah,
You
totally.
know? And I like my wife writes songs and plays, and I think it took her until very recently to understand that you didn't have to bang it all out at once, you know.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And then she went to the farthest end of the spectrum where it would take a month to get a song together, and it was driving her insane on that side now.
Yeah, find that sweet spot, you know?
That's wild to me that you say a month was driving her insane. Because I mean, I have songs that a month would be quick for me. I'd be like, cool, we got that one wrapped
It
up.
was
Like,
one. It
but
wasn't
then
like
there are songs that happen in 2 or 3 days, and there occasionally are songs that I'll write all at once, but it's kind of rare. But I mean, what's most normal for me is like, because like I said, I'm just like sit down to write, try to write 4 lines, and maybe I got 10 or 15 songs going at once. And like by the time I finish one, I mean there's shit in there from 6 months ago at least, usually in the song I just finished, you know. So
do you ever find that it loses the plot? Like, because there's a
no,
thing.
I have to wait to pick up the rest of the plot.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the plot, hasn't happened yet, and I have to wait on it. Like that's more what it feels like.
There's a thing in screenwriting where everyone's like, you got to write this first draft of the script as fast as possible. Otherwise, you're a different person by the time you started it and finished it, and that's bad.
Right.
But
It's good if I'm a different person when I finish a song than when I started it, actually. But the song is a whole different thing. So but I think in songs, I'm actually fine with that. I might need to be a different person before I can finish it.
well, maybe the initial concept made you become that different person. So by the time you wrap it up,
Absolutely. Yeah, it
Yeah.
did, I think. I think that's why I write songs, actually.
Did it take you a while to understand that?
Yeah, I mean, it took me to like the last few years, but I started writing songs when I was 10, and I think I inherently knew there was something about it that was just like good, or that felt good, that it was like some form of like therapeutic something before I had access to therapy or anything, you know, and yeah, just an outlet for like fucked up feelings that I didn't understand as a kid. Um and I think I've come to understand that it's like kind of the main vehicle that moves my life forward, actually. So I think I write to understand myself, and if I can't finish a song, then maybe I don't understand enough, and down the road sometimes I understand more and then I finish that song. Or
do
I just see it in from a different angle and I can finish it or whatever.
do your songs come from? It seems like I have a guess on where they come from based off this conversation. But are you like driving along and you see something and that triggers it, or is it something in your brain that you've been thinking about that triggers it and you don't know essentially what sparked that?
Usually it's the first thing.
Okay.
I usually see or hear something that I kind of take note of that sounds cool or just hits me in a cool way. And then usually that it connects it to something that, you know, I mean, sometimes I guess I hear something that I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's cool and I want to put it in a song, and that's valid too.
Yeah.
But usually it's like I'll hear it and I know that's cool. I want to put it in a song, and I know that it's because to me it reminds me of this, or it means this to me or whatever. But I mean, yeah, that could just be like some shit I read on a billboard driving down the highway, or something I overhear someone say, whatever, you know.
And all the songs that you're writing at once, like if you're writing 10, 15 songs at once, does that become a record because it's all kind of connected?
Yeah.
Usually, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
usually. I mean, and usually also what'll happen along with that is there's this musical side of things that has its own set of like, or a musical side of my brain, I guess, that has its own set of like concerns and boxes to check. And so as have this batch of songs going, when I start finishing a few, usually once there's 4 or 5 songs done, that can kind of inform the musical direction
Okay.
that I want to go. And if I have songs already in the works that lyrically are sticking for me, sometimes those might end up musically getting tweaked a little bit or reworked, or maybe just a whole different idea musically, set the lyrics to a whole different music, just whatever, because I'm trying to kind of keep the music cohesive in line and then also keep things lyrically cohesive at the same time.
So
That's
essentially, you're writing lyrics, and then the music comes later. You're not sitting with a guitar.
no, well, that's not exactly when I write lyrics, there's music there. Like I don't just write
It's here.
words.
It's in your head.
I mean, I'll play it. There'll be a demo of it, but I'll grab a guitar and I'll play it. It'll be a musical idea that, like, I never just sit down and write words,
Okay.
just
I was
words.
picturing that for some reason.
There's a when I'm writing words, like there's a melody, there's a musical idea happening, but it's just that maybe once I got 4 or 5 songs done and I'm like, okay, this is kind of the way the music is going and this feels good, I might look at some other idea that's in the works and be like, I love these lyrics, they're really doing it for me, but musically it's not fitting with this other shit. So I'm gonna, even though it had a melody, it had a structure maybe somewhat already, I'm gonna just throw that out the window and come up with a new one that suits these lyrics so that it can musically live with these other songs, because it already lyrically feels like it lives with them. So that's not, I mean, honestly, explaining it like this makes me feel like, wow, this is complicated and weird. I've never thought about it, but that's kind of what I do. Yeah.
Well, to me, it sounds like you're like chipping away like an archaeologist. Like
It
what?
feels like chipping away. I compare it,
With the statue in it.
I compare it to sculpting all the time. Absolutely. That, like, and the way I write too, lyrically, I'm always, I mean, I say when I sit down to write, I try to write 4 lines. That's when I like sit down with a guitar and I'm like, okay, songwriting is the activity I'm doing right now. But all the time I'm just making little notes of, like, driving down the road, see something on a billboard, whatever the fuck, hear something. I'm making little notes of things, ideas, little, it could be a line or it could just be a word or whatever that I want to work into a song. And then when I sit down with the guitar, I'm referring back to that shit to
Right.
kind of mine that stuff to write 4 actual lines as they're going to be sung, from that stuff. But those ideas kind of feel like they're just raw material. Like I'm just compiling raw material,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to start sculpting that into something. But first I just need a fuck ton of raw material before like a song can get made,
Right.
And are you taking like time out of every day? You're like, this is my time I sit down.
No, I do that like once a month. I do that like
It takes so long.
I do that once. I don't know. I do it every couple weeks, maybe. Like I don't do that often. I don't write that. I collect ideas all the time and then I sit down to write. Okay, actually, it's not even a regular thing. It's more like 3 or 4 times a year I will do that for like a week or 2 straight. And then a few songs get done.
And so like between those couple times a year, you have yourself.
I'm just collecting ideas, but I'm not actually like sitting down and trying to write anything.
Okay.
Does it get to a point where you like feel like you have to, like it all came together and you're like, here it is? Yeah.
That's when it happens, when it reaches a point where I've been collecting ideas and it feels like now I'm like about to explode. Like I need to fucking, songs need to happen now. It's just, I don't know.
Where you fill up like the pig and then eventually it explodes and you get a bonus. That's it's like that. You fill it up with enough coins and then you got some songs that explode.
Exactly. Yeah.
20 free spins. I think of things very I need like a reference in my head to make my brain work. Otherwise stuff doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
make the connections.
Yeah, yeah. It always interests because like there's so many ways to go about putting a record together and putting a song together. And it's like we've read stuff and also talked to more people. Absolutely nobody has had the same answer.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But they
Yeah,
all
and I don't, I haven't done a lot of co-writing really. Think I'm kind of more open to it now, and I've got some potential like co-write opportunities coming up, so we'll see what happens. But that is actually the thing about it that kind of makes me nervous, I think, is just that like I, being exposed to the way somebody else writes songs feels weird to me. I don't know why, but it almost feels like, oh, you do it a weird way. I don't do it like that. Like I, and maybe that's what's cool about it is
Right.
you end up with something that neither of you could do on your own.
Creation that you
Yeah. So we'll see, but like I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm just being like neurotic, but yeah.
Do you run stuff by Pearl? Is she a good what do you call it?
sounding board.
Sound. Yes, thank you, Sam. Sounding board.
Like songs, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, she's a really well, I don't know if she's a good sounding board. She kind of loves everything I do, so I don't know.
That could be the problem.
Good for me.
Feels good.
I don't know if she's like a trustworthy sounding board for that, but yeah, no, I just share ideas with her. If I'm writing something that I'm just excited about, I mean, it would be hard for me not to want to show it to her,
Do
And
you have people that are not just super in your corner that you can show songs to?
Yeah. Somebody's going to be like, well, I don't know, John.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what you're doing here with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes like I'll end up playing in Tulsa, I'll end up playing like songwriter night somewhere or some shit. I'll play a couple songs or so maybe that's like a way, but
Workshop and stuff.
do what?
Like workshopping songs.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought it's usually I'm just like drunk enough and somebody asks me to do it and I'm like, all right, but yeah, it does kind of serve as that. Like I'll like get a chance to play a new song for the 20 people that are at songwriter night on Monday night or whatever it is. So that might be the closest thing I have to that. I don't, but I've never been one of those writers that feels terribly like I have to show shit to people in order to gauge if it's good or not. I always just kind of feel like I know if I like it or not, and I don't really worry about it too much.
I mean, it's seemingly working out.
It's working out.
Like it seems that you got a decent gauge on it. But like it's kind of like comedians when they're putting a new hour together. Like
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld will show up randomly to a bar in New York and work some shit out,
Yeah.
and find out like what does and doesn't work.
Yeah.
Do you ever play shit on stage like at a songwriter night or something else where you're like, man, this is fucking awesome. Then you play it and you're like, I got no laughs on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. And, I've usually found that sometimes it's just because it feels like it's just because it's new. Because even if I'm playing at songwriter night or whatever, like people
Want the old shit.
people there know me and they've heard my music, and at least if it's like songwriter night in Tulsa. So like, yeah, even in that scenario, it feels like if I play something new, sometimes the reaction feels a little underwhelming, but I've come to my conclusion at this point after doing it for years is that it feels like it has more to do with it being new. And I actually remember one specific one that I remember is when I wrote Blacklist. When I wrote that song, the first time I ever played it was at a show in Oklahoma City, and I was opening for Ben Nichols on the first Bike Riders tour. And I was like so excited to play that. I was like, Blacklist was my brand new song. I was like, this song fucks. Like, I'm gonna open my set with it. Like, people are gonna die. Like, dude, like this song's so good. And yeah, it wasn't crickets, but it was like a little bit like, And it was like Oklahoma City. Like, people knew me even back then. People there knew me. And then when I played like the rest of my set, and it was like songs they'd heard before, it was way better. And now I play Blacklist, and people do lose their shit. But
People,
it was brand new, and I think people just want to hear shit they know, and
right?
sometimes you have to give
Yeah,
it time.
I mean,
yeah,
people give shit. I've seen this all the time. People give Dylan shit on his Rough and
Yeah,
Rowdy Ways tour for not playing fucking Tambourine Man. It's like, well,
yeah,
the Rough and Rowdy Ways tour. It's not called Dylan Does the Fucking Hits.
yeah. I know.
And I mean, that's the thing when people connect to musicians really heavily for whatever reason, right?
Yeah, yeah,
A lot of people connected to Dylan, obviously. We're 65, 70 years into him doing his shit.
yeah,
But even now, but once people connect to you and really appreciate what you're doing and feel like they're right, like you're writing for them. This happened with Tyler Childers a bunch too, where
yeah,
then all of a sudden you're like, here's something different. And they're like, that's not what
that's
you are.
that's
yeah.
why
Oh,
John Moreland.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, dude. People don't like that. Yeah, but at the same time, you have to do it. Like you have to, like humans have to do that shit, and people got to just get over it.
well,
Yeah,
they want new shit, but they don't want to hear new shit. They want to already know and like the new shit.
right.
That's the thing, dude. And that's what you eventually you realize, like you can't win, because if I kept doing the same thing, you'd hate on me for that. And if I give you something different, you're gonna hate on me for that. So like moral of the story, fuck you. I'm gonna do whatever I want. Like
Yeah, you seem like you have a very strong internal, like, you're like, that's fine, but I'm gonna do what I feel like I'm supposed to do anyway, and I don't really care if you like it. I hope so. That's great.
absolutely.
But
It's
I
yeah,
have
and it's
for me. I guess
absolutely.
that
It's
was
not
like
like an antagonistic, like
right.
trying to turn people off at all. Like I want to be liked for real,
Yeah,
trust me. But like, um, but no, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like the hardcore kid thing or what, but I do have a very strong intuition about like what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And I don't really have trouble sticking to it most of the time.
would you would you go into a little bit like when you took that break, because it sounds like you went through some serious brain changes during that, and I was interested. I listened to you on another podcast, and it was just a very candid conversation, and I felt very much like, oh, John's a kindred spirit. Like
Oh, cool.
that whole like taking time off and really working on what you need and understanding what makes you tick
Um,
and how to tweak that to do what you want.
yeah. I mean, so like at the end of 2022, the tour for Birds in the Ceiling was just felt really rough, and the shows were good, and I don't maybe it was just more the headspace I was in that was rough, I guess. But um and so, that was kind of like the end of like 10 straight years of just touring, 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 kind of never stopping. Even when I did take short breaks during that time, it was like I never took a break from the mental space of like seeing myself as an artist primarily, like an art, like a public facing artist who people would have perceptions of or whatever. And what I didn't realize is how much like I was trying to control or manipulate those perceptions, or how much I at least wished I could, or something like that. And it was like really kind of making me crazy, and just basically just wanting things I can't control to be different was making me crazy.
Right, right.
And
You have to kind of
so,
reach an agreement with your
yeah. And I
mom
think
to go.
it, it was like I my wife had experience with like recovery programs and stuff,
Okay.
and so she recommended one, and that was like about codependence and shit like that, and it was just life changing. And it was like I'm it changed my worldview. And I think it made me realize, like, growing up with this, there's part of like the Christian culture I grew up in where, at least the way it was in my family, my household, where it felt like other people are responsible for your feelings. Like if somebody's making me uncomfortable, it's because they're bad and they need to stop sinning or be different or whatever the fuck. And left the religious shit behind as a teenager, but like I didn't realize I was still carrying that with me, that like if I have a problem with someone, they need to change. And I think I just kind of had to like strip everything out of my life until I could get to a point where I could recognize that's what I was doing and just how fundamentally like fucked up and not gonna work that is.
That's a smart move. People always want to add to the problem. It's like, well,
Yeah,
if I put in it, and it took me almost 40 years to realize where it's just
yes,
like, no, what I need to do is strip down to the core
yeah,
and work from there.
yeah. And that
It's
was
sort of
and
what,
it was the first time I like consciously realized I only think of myself as like this artist me, and like who is the actual me? Like who the fuck is that guy? I don't even know that person, and like wanting to like know that person and learn about him. And
yeah,
because I used to know him, I feel like I used to know him, and just yeah, and like um it was a whole domino effect. That's a lot. We could do 10 podcasts just about that, honestly, but that's kind of where it all came from.
well, good job. A lot of people go way too long not knowing that.
Thanks, man. I mean, I feel like I did, but I'm grateful to know it now.
It shows.
Thanks.
Do you have a new kind of, once you found yourself as a person, that obviously affected your artistic self as well. So, do you have like a new way that you're like a new sound coming out, new concepts in your songs? Has it changed what you do? Is it reflecting itself artistically, or do you just have a better understanding of what you were doing artistically?
Yeah, does it just refine it or is it something new?
I think it's just refinement and more like self-acceptance, more acceptance of whatever is in me and whatever is gonna come out of me at any point in the future. Like I think that there is Visitor is a rootsier record and the ones before it were not so much. And so it's like seems like maybe that coincides with this head change or whatever, and maybe it does in a way, but it's not necessarily that, well, that's what I'm doing forever again now. I mean, I think I'm just more open to whatever whatever is in me that needs to come out than ever before. If it's like traditional, or that's cool, or if it's weird, that's cool.
Yeah.
And if it's like just whatever, and if people love it, that's cool, and if they hate it, that's cool. But um I mean, I do feel just like I'm pretty into like the acoustic zone the
Yeah.
last couple of years. Like that is where my head is and my interests are. And I think during the pandemic years, I really like was fucking around with samplers like for just, got tired of pushing buttons of blinking lights and stuff on boxes and wanted to, there's something cool about making music physically, like the physicality of like touching the strings and making them physically vibrate, and that's where the sound comes from. That's like, that I was kind of missing. So I'm kind of in that zone again and I'm feeling it. But that's not to say that like I'll never do some weird shit that'll, you know,
Right.
piss off a Chris Stapleton fan in the future or whatever.
Just the Chris Stapleton fan. No other fans. Do you have a new record that you're working on? Do you have a concept of that, or is this like at the beginning stages, or is it just going to come when it comes?
Yeah, how long does it take you after you complete something to begin something else?
It has varied. Right now I've got, I'm gonna say four songs, I think, done, four new ones. So I mean, I'm not like close to new record time yet, really, but I think was it May? Like, yeah, I'm hoping later in the year. I want to do some recording before the year is over for sure. So, but it would probably be like late next year would be the earliest that would come out, if so. So, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
And do you have more touring going on after these dates?
Yeah, I've got some like festivals in June and July, festivals and little one-offs and short runs, and then like August, um back doing like East Coast again. And then I don't know if it's been announced yet as of today. I don't remember when we're announcing it, but I have a West Coast tour. Probably whenever by the time this comes out, it'll probably be announced. I have a West Coast tour in
No, this is going to be the announcement of it.
okay, cool. Yeah, West Coast tour coming, and I think that's in September or October or both or so. I don't know, whatever. I'm touring.
And people can find that on your Instagram and your website, I assume.
Yeah, people can Google me and find all that stuff.
Awesome, dude.
Maybe we'll be out west.
We might be out west. He might also be here.
That's true. I could be in Cincinnati when you're out west, but you know, if anytime we're in the same place at the same time, y'all are on the list. So just holler at me.
I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this, dude. This has been
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.